Welcome, freshers. Welcome back, students who are returning. Welcome back, graduates who are still listening to Voices of Hult. And welcome, new listener, if you are considering Hult or just listening to the podcast because you found it on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music. It's really weird to say this because we haven't done an episode in a couple of months, and it's also even more weird to say this because I'm here with somebody very special. I'm not here with a guest today that usually we interview beforehand that has some industry experience to talk about their specific career. We're here with somebody who has been behind the camera the entire time for the past, how many episodes have we done? 7, 8?
Yeah,
from
7
London.
episodes, yeah.
And it's really exciting to introduce to you somebody who is really dear to me, somebody who's probably really dear to a lot of you here at the London campus. Zane, introduce yourself.
Hey Peter, great to be here. My name is Zain, and I'm a third year student here at Hult. I'm basically all the behind the scenes, the man behind the camera for all the podcast episodes that you're watching for Voices of Hult. And yeah, great to be here. I don't know what this episode's gonna be about, but I just wanna point out that I do have a lot of respect for every person who sits in front of the camera because this is my first time doing so, and every single time when Peter or Lucia or anyone else is looking at the lights and they get blinded by it and I'm like, suck it up, but now I'm getting a taste of my own medicine, so it's great.
Zane, look, to be honest, we wanted to give out a video how a lot of students are feeling right now coming back to campus or coming to campus for the first time. They don't know what to do in London.
Perfect.
They don't know what is going to be happening at Hult for the upcoming year because there's been some changes. There's a lot of stuff that coming from high school to university, you probably don't know what's going to happen. And even if you're not on campus yet, exactly those students who are going to be joining us, next year in September, any upcoming years, at least you're going to get a feel about what's going to be happening in the first weeks that you join. And yeah, let's get into it, Zane.
Let's hop into it. Ready to go?
So I haven't interviewed you, so you have no idea what we're going to be talking about. But it's going to be a really short episode, 20 minutes. Hopefully we're not going to ramble on for too long. First thing, how was your orientation week as an orientation leader?
Orientation was very different to the ones we had in previous years, but it was a huge eye opener. So we had a lot of sessions in terms of like how to become a Londoner, how to set up, for instance, like a UK bank account, which a lot of people in our intake, you can imagine, we had problems with that. So it was good to have those introductory sessions in the beginning. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of the events, we did have a London tour for people who wanted to join. I also had the privilege of going to the Chelsea Stadium, which was amazing.
Which was the other selection? Can you because I know you chose to go to the Chelsea Stadium.
Yeah.
And students could also choose where they wanted to go. So there was a lot of different activities. What were those?
So there was the Chelsea Stadium. There was the Harry Potter tour, the Jack the Ripper tour, and the also boat. What was it? The boat
cruise on the Thames.
Yeah, on the Thames. Yeah. So those, I think, the most popular ones were, of course, the Chelsea and the boat cruise, but. Yeah, it's like I have some pictures. I'll see if I'm speaking to my future self. If I want to put some pictures up here, I'll do so. Yeah.
Yeah, Zane is also going to be editing this episode as always. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can definitely see some pictures from the events directly. Yeah, how did you find, like, for example, I know you mentioned that you really learned how to, for example, set up a bank account.
Yeah.
We can even go in depth, like how was the process for you when you joined Hult, 2 years ago, and what kind of changes have you seen from that orientation week to this one?
I think having those sessions, for instance, was really helpful for the students from at least the ones I've spoken to as of right now. And so for instance, the UK bank account, I would have loved to have that one because I don't know if I've told you about this, but like I applied to 2 other UK bank accounts. Barclays was one of them. I got rejected for it to open up a UK bank account.
How come?
I genuinely don't remember. I think it's because I didn't have like a valid address or something.
Okay.
Like something around those lines.
So you lived in a student accommodation in your first year.
So I didn't live in Chapter. You know this, but like I didn't live in Chapter like a lot of other students did. So basically, they lived in. There's like around 5 different student accommodations near campus. There's Hugo, the Curve. There's IQ accommodation that's right across the street. Another IQ drapery place, which is right next to Pizza Union. Pizza Union is going to be a lovely place for everyone, for every student who's
You
watching.
can get to Pizza Union later.
And Dongraten. But I lived in Hugo, the Curve. And yeah, I think it's because I just hadn't moved in yet, so I was just jumping around between my cousin's place, who's in Cambridge, and that. So yeah, so I attended some of these sessions myself, and yeah, it was really helpful in that case. And I really think that the new HSA, because I attended some of those sessions as well, has a lot of plans for us this coming year.
Amazing, glad to hear that. I know you also spoke about, meeting so many people. I mean, the intake, probably met around 300 people in a span of 4 days. I remember when I joined, 2 years ago, and then when I was an orientation leader the year after. It's such a fun mess meeting. So it's a great description because
it is.
you get to talk to so many new faces. You get to learn about how they came to Hult, and you gotta remember their names first of all. So I have this story where, when I introduce myself to people that I have introduced myself to before, being like, I don't know your name and they don't know mine either. And I'm like, that's perfectly fine because you just met 300 people.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I still have people from the first year, and I'm not going to disclose who it is because quite frankly, I don't know their name, that I still say hello to on a daily basis when I see them, and I'm like super excited, but I have no idea what their name is.
Yeah.
And that's gonna happen because, okay, we're not a massive institution, 1,200 people isn't that much.
Yeah.
You remember the faces, you see them every day, but asking their name 2 months into knowing them is a bit over the top.
To be fair, I've gotten better at that. So I like to pass it up in a sense where you remember nationalities as well. You always remember where students are from for some reason, but you never remember their names. So I like to be like, okay, I'm sorry, I know you're Mexican, but I just don't remember what your name is, if I'm being totally frank with you. And I've had this student he wasn't one of my students that I was accompanying in orientation, but I told my name to him like 4 or 5 times. And every single time he forgets about it. You've seen it yesterday. He forgets because it's my name, like in certain parts of the world isn't that common, like Zayn. But so he didn't know. So every single time I see him, like, you don't know my name, do you?
Yeah.
But you just make up for it for nationalities.
Yeah. You just gotta be fine with it. I think a lot of people are scared that, you don't remember my name.
It's not as obvious as people make it out to be.
It's so chill, really. Like just because you meet so many of them. Great life hack. Whenever if you're a student here, or like you don't know somebody's name, just ask them for their Instagram or their LinkedIn.
I do that.
And like you can use both, and then you're like, oh right, his name is Nicholas. Great.
Perfect. Yeah. That's true. Unless you have like weird usernames.
True.
That's true. Also, you could also ask when they're typing their Instagram. So how do you spell your name? Hopefully their name isn't John or Ben or anything, but
I'm always so scared when I ask that. Like I ask people, so how do you spell your name? Or like, also, what's your @ and they just say, oh, it's just my name. Right? That is like they just
Thankfully, I haven't had that happen to me.
Yeah.
If I do, I just be like, hey, to be totally honest, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
I think that was pretty much it for orientation. I mean, I see that you were having fun. It's genuinely it's a great week. I love it because I'm a really sociable person. You're just meeting so many people at the same time, and you can really forge those relationships that are going to last for life.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't think I found my exact friend group, like of the closest friends that I'm with right now, and like you're in it, and like the other people that we hang out with. I didn't find them the first week. I didn't find them the first month. I think our kind of friend group got established towards the end of the first year.
Probably like second semester.
Second semester. I would say if you do get great groups of people that you work with within your core modules or your specialization modules, those will likely be the friends that you're gonna keep on talking to, go out, do friends things.
That's very true.
In London. Talking about friends things.
Tell me.
If you're new in London, you want to come to London, then what is your favorite activity to do in London?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Or if that narrows it down, and maybe it's gonna hint about like what you would like to do. Where do you like to go? What's your favorite spot in London? I think you
London?
could answer both those questions.
All right, favorite spot 100% will be Greenwich Park, if I'm being totally honest. You know this.
Yes.
So I think during our last orientation week, when we were like during our second year, we had this activity where me, you, Dominic, Jan, or like me, Peter, and three other friends, just for context, we collaborated on taking all these students to the Greenwich Park, and we played flag football and just watched the sunset. The weather was amazing during that time, so it's a lovely place to go. It's also one of my favorite, it is one of my favorite places in London, but in terms of activities, because it is a loaded question, because London, you could literally go to a different place every single day in London and you wouldn't have scratch the surface of this huge vibrant city, if I'm being totally honest.
The thing is, it's not just the places, it's also what's happening at those places.
Yeah.
Because I go to network events, for example, this week, as part of Close Swap, the company that I run, we're in fashion, we're in sustainable fashion, and one of our marketing strategies is wearing blue and going to Fashion Week events. Now, where in other city could you get 20 Fashion Week events with a couple of emails? You know, we are going to Fashion Week event every single day. Like, for example, I don't think I told you, today we have 3 Fashion Week events that are overlapping.
Really?
So we might even have to split.
Oh.
And it's like, you can really do anything here, whether that is going to networking events with other professionals.
That's true.
Whether they're going to like fashion shows, getting freebies, getting free food at events, which have like free tickets, you can come by and then you can just get free food and drinks as part of your free ticket.
Yeah, and that I also want to add on to that, because any freshers who are watching this actually for the first time, or considering coming to Hult, or any of those just fall into that category, make sure to attend the Freshers Festival. I cannot stress enough how amazing and how familiar you get with your friends in London, how well you get to know just the places itself, because like you said, just freebies everywhere. You just get free student memberships, sign up to uni days, by the way, and student beans. You get a massive student discounts on that. I'll just put the links over here. Gonna be a lot of work in the future, but anyway, but always attend the Freshers Festival. I think that can be a good start into your journey in becoming a Londoner, if that makes any sense.
So just for context, Freshers Festival is a mass event for all like upcoming and current university students across London. Tickets are free. There's massive companies like Amazon, just like you said, gyms, internet providers, that you can all get freebies from, like free coffee, free food. We're having a stand there as well with Close Swap.
Lovely.
And it's like, why wouldn't you go? It's unfortunately this episode comes out too late for the freshers because it's happening this Saturday.
That's why I was talking to future freshers as well.
Yeah. No, it's just such an experience, and also to meet other incoming freshers. There's 10,000 people coming, so it's like you get the entire pool of all of London students at this one event.
Yeah. And actually, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular advices? Let's say I took Peter, okay? Peter from
Peter,
2 years ago. All right, and I threw him into London for the first time. You don't know anyone here.
Yes.
What do you do? How do you make friends? How do you...
Do I go to Hult? I come
Yeah,
to
you
Hult,
go to
yes.
Hult. Yeah,
Okay.
you've attended orientation week.
I've attended I've met some people that probably I didn't click with a lot of them.
Yeah, which could be the case with a lot of students, which is completely normal, by the way.
Or some students might join in the October intake, great question, because then I can bridge this to another section of clubs and societies. Now, I personally, one of my favorite ever clubs and societies at Hult, the Model United Nations Society. I've met so many wonderful people as part of our society, but also going to conferences. Now, to give you again a bit of context of what Model United Nations is, it basically kind of does speak for itself. If you know the United Nations, which is this massive organization that does human rights, security all over the world, almost all countries participate in the UN. We do simulation debates either at Hult, so we focus on public speaking, on politics, international relations, and then like a bit of crisis management, which I specialize in. And then we go to conferences that are great because we get support from Hult to go there as well. So we usually go on multiple trips a year. I've been to Oxford, I've been to Madrid, I've been to Paris, and especially Paris and Taiwan were the two trips that I loved the most. Because one, it was a conference organized by Harvard. It's called Worldman. It's the biggest conference, or at least one of the most famous ones in the world, considered kind of like the championship of Model United Nations. So it's
That's
like
great.
we say it's the world championship.
Perfect.
And actually, the year I joined, we won outstanding small delegation, which is
Okay.
amazing. Like not a lot of delegations actually accomplish that.
Congrats, by the way.
Considering we don't study politics at all, like or international relations, we're purely business students. And then Taiwan as well. It was just so great to bond with other people because you live in the same place.
That's true.
You go to socials with them. You debate together. You learn together. This is how you make those everlasting connections within your delegation.
Perfect.
And then you can meet students from other universities, which I love as well. This year, if you're watching this and you're a current student, we are going to Manila. So, yeah.
Lovely.
You
Absolutely
should
lovely.
join our delegation. And yeah, we're really excited to have you there. We have a lot of trips planned. Hopefully, if everything goes well, we will be going to Madrid as well,
That's
to
great.
Bath. But it all depends if you want to join the society, and we give you full support on bringing you from, just being a little student, being a delegate that is joining our society, practicing debating, which is going to help you in classes because we have a lot of debates, especially like I do in management.
Management, of course.
And yeah, it's going to bring you to somebody who is going to be applying to be presidents of other societies, somebody who's going to be applying to the HSA, because if you look at the HSA right now, the Hult Student Association, it has 3 or 4 people that were part of the MEN Society, and this is pretty much the same thing every year. Last year, Tom Kinast, who was our president of the HSA, was one time on the board of the MEN Society, and this is how people grow, because these are the people who are really involved in the Hult community here.
So that would be your advice, like getting involved in the.
Yeah, I went on a ramble, yes.
No, that's fine, it's fine. But like just getting involved in the clubs and societies, just everything that Hult offers
Yeah.
in general. And I also want to just add on to what you just said about how even though you excel significantly in those conferences that you go to in MUN, we're only business students. We don't study politics. So that's what separates a lot of the like Hult students from any other business university in a sense where when we participate in those clubs and societies, we know that we're passionate about those societies, so we're gonna put in as much effort as we do in our classes, if that makes any sense.
Do you know what the other reason is?
What?
So, business students, especially at Hult, we learn the mindsets, we learn the skills of public speaking inside of our classes.
Yeah.
And I like to compare this to, a lot of people are scared, oh, I'm an international student, I don't know English that well. And a lot of the people who debate at these competitions, especially at the start,
Are also international.
they are international, but a lot of them are home students who
Oh,
speak
really?
fluent English. So I had people who joined the
Oh.
delegation early on and were super scared because, oh, they speak better English better than me, but this is how you learn. But because we're here, we're at Hult, and this is why we were chosen to be here, we learn so much faster through our failures and through our successes.
That's true. That's
than
true.
people who have had this thing given to them on a platter, like they've done debates before, they've done they've spoken English all of their life, so they're like, oh, you know what, I'll do this. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't. Here at Hult, if you fail, you go up like that,
100%.
and you learn
100%.
from the critical thinking mindsets.
And through the
great.
challenges as well, like every single core module we've had, like our exams are not like any other university type of exam. So, as you know, if anyone who's not currently a Hult student, if you you're used to exams being like, okay, so you memorize a bunch of information and you just go into the exam, regurgitate all of it onto a piece of paper just for you to forget it afterwards.
Yeah.
So the good thing about Hult is, like you said, just you learn through the mindsets, you learn through the challenges. So for instance, imagine your final being, if anyone's watched Shark Tank or Dragons, then you're just basically through your first 7 weeks, that actually is a good segue into getting to the modules at Hult. The first 7 weeks you get into Hult, for instance, the professor is going to be taking on the role of for instance, a manager at the particular business workplace, and they'll be like, okay, here's a project for you. I want you to do a startup, and you're going to be in a team with 6 other people or 5 other people. Everyone's different nationalities.
That's true.
Do it.
Do it.
And then at the end, you're gonna be like, so then you're gonna have the opportunity to pitch that particular business plan that you've built up with your fellow peers for the past 7 weeks, and then your teachers will or professors will then take on the role of being potential investors, and then they of course ask you particular questions. So these types of, I think in particular, that approach to learning does help in a sense where you get to learn the business inside out through doing it yourself, not
Like
just
doing
reading
business.
about actual case studies. So, and that also ties in, like you said, with Modern United Nations. You just apply the same skills that you've learned in the classroom into the clubs and societies as well.
So talking about clubs and societies, there's pretty much, I think, 30 or 40 here at Hult.
30, yeah.
You can constantly create ones. There's constantly created. Yeah, so if you want to join any, I would highly recommend you join on the first floor on the 1st of October.
Perfect.
From 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. I think so.
Yep.
If you want to join any societies. Now, I do want to say that if you want to join a society even before the Clubs and Societies Fair, because there will be events.
Okay.
There will be events, Board Game Society, Hult Founders Lab, MUN Society especially, because we have a conference coming up soon after the Clubs and Societies Fair. Do not hesitate, reach out to either one of us, or go on the first floor at the Clubs and Societies board, scan the QR code, and you will be in the group chat.
Yeah.
And you can text the board members. You can say, hey, when is the next session? But there will be sessions pretty much every week for some of the societies. Some of the societies do less events. I mean, we do the podcast, so we don't really do many events. But you're also going to see us at the Clubs and Societies Fair to see how you can get involved with being on the marketing and the productions team, or even down the line becoming a host, just like Zain. Yeah, that brings me to one more thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
There's an event, community night they call it, a Hult community night happening on the 24th of September from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. at Bolly Ballerson. You remember last year?
Bolly Ballerson, the one with the ball
Yeah,
pit. Yep.
the one with the ball pit. So there's this amazing bar, I think it's in Shoreditch. I would still count it as Shoreditch. Right?
I don't remember what it was, to be totally
Yeah,
honest with you.
so in Shoreditch there's this bar, it's pretty big, where there's a massive ball pit that you can go into, like play with your friends, talk there. It's one of the first nights that you can actually kind of mingle with your friends, or like meet new people in an informal setting. It's going to be all Hult students. I think it's going to be really amazing. So don't forget to sign up through the My Hult app, which is, by the way, amazing. The My Hult app allows you to do everything.
Yeah.
Book meetings with your coach, book meetings with careers team, book meetings with student services, do your attendance, book team rooms. You have all the resources there. If you can't find them, there's this search button, and then you can find anything there.
Yeah, I always explain it when I'm giving campus tour. I'm like, My Hult is gonna be your best friend when you come to Hult. Like everything you want to do,
Everything is on there.
it's just on the application.
Yeah, so don't forget about those two. I think those are the specifically two really important events that you have to look out for. And yeah, I think that is everything you currently need to know about joining Hult, about being at Hult. Zain, is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, so if you have any further questions for any students that are on campus right now, new freshers, student services are no longer on the first floor, they're on the third floor now with the rest of the staff.
True.
So if you have any particular questions, whether that's careers, student services, admissions, just everything in that nature, go up to the third floor. Visas and IT are on the fourth floor. So just go up to those two floors. If you have any particular questions or issues you want to talk about, perfect. And
you can just talk with them. You don't have to chase them down by email.
Yeah,
you don't have
that's
to,
lovely. Yeah.
search. Oh my God, where are they? Like they're on annual leave for the next 3 weeks now. They're gonna be sitting upstairs, or they're going to be in class giving a lecture.
Lovely, absolutely
Cool.
lovely.
Everybody, thank you for listening. We will update you on new stuff that is going to be coming to Hult, any events, any societies that would like to showcase that they're recruiting, any events, big events that are happening. We'll definitely let you know as part of our upcoming episodes. And just stay tuned. If you have some ideas about who should be a speaker on this podcast, definitely reach out. Our inboxes are open. Last remark, Zain?
Yep, our inboxes are open.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, just
Cool.
feel free to reach out to us
Yeah.
if you have any particular questions or any hosts you wanna or any guests you wanna have on the podcast.
Do reach out, say hi to us in the corridor or anywhere in the social area. If we don't remember your name, don't worry about it. You're just gonna have to tell us a couple of times. We have a lot of things going on.
We'll remember
But-
it. We'll remember it. We'll remember it at some point.
Exactly. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you later.
Signing off.